Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Really Authentic Human, the podcast with me, your host, Samantha, and my beautiful guest here today, Meaghan from Goddess Goals LLC. Hello, how are you?
Hello. I'm really good today. I'm really
Good.
good today.
You
Yeah.
look beautiful. I love your earrings. Everything's good. And I like that are you sitting on the floor?
On my little meditation pillow. Yep.
I love it. I have been recording at desks, and then today I was like, I feel like I need to get on the floor to be with Meaghan, so I feel grounded. And then also, I love it because you and I both are really into somatics, which we'll get into for everybody. But there's something about being on the physical ground that is just so nice.
It is. Yeah. I do all of my like virtual clients from right here and in my little temple space. And I'm always sitting on the ground with my like knees bent. And this is like home for me right here.
There you go. That's
I wish I
perfect.
could just bring my like meditation pillow wherever I go and just plop it down like to the movie theater and just be like, oh no, I don't need a seat. I'm good I'm just gonna be here.
Just a denial on the stairway. That's perfect. I
Yes.
think we should. I think they should actually. That would be a really good idea. Get rid of the chairs. You bring your own blankets or fun, comfy things or
Yeah.
meditation. That would be super fun. You should cultivate that. We can open a movie theater for
Like a
non-Tamil students.
drive-in, but like it's just like a
Yeah,
hangout theater. You just come,
hangout theater.
yeah, watch a great
Perfect.
movie. Maybe like people will actually just like entertain us by themselves with their own storytelling.
That would be really, really cool. I like this idea. Okay, I want to introduce you more properly. So everybody who is new to the podcast or coming into the podcast, I have Meaghan here, obviously, because she is a very real, authentic human. And she, like I mentioned, is the founder of Goddess Goals LLC. She's a somatic healer. She's a womb priestess. She's a ceremonialist. You do so many things. You also brought dance, somatic or ecstatic dance, right? To
Yeah.
Lansing.
Yep. Founder of Ecstatic Dance Lansing.
Yeah, love it. I think that's amazing. Um, is there anything that you want to share with everybody? Like introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you and what you do for work.
Yeah. You know, truly the way I answer that changes every single day, as I think most of us in this work um do. Um yeah, I'm a former high school teacher and museum director and Peace Corps volunteer, um, turned somatic spiritual healer, which is just a fancy term for priestess. Um, witch. Ooh, the witch word. Oh, the witch word.
I
Still
love it.
riles people up. I love riling people up. I love tracking mud on the carpet. Um, yeah.
That's so
Today,
great.
yeah. Today I really feel this huge weaving mix of like my old world, my old life, and my new life. I'm currently working on a new project. Um,
Mhm.
it's a movement, a statewide movement around the state of Michigan for menopause, to educate about menopause. And I'm like working with legislators and lawyers and doctors and like a lot of the people, the world that I consciously
Sure.
left about 4 years ago. So I get to be in this like teacher role, this like very like proper and
Yeah.
put together and grounded teacher, while also bringing in my other
Wisdom.
witchy sides and spiritual sides as well.
That's so amazing. I feel like there's a lot of priestesses or witches, stepping from the shadows into roles like that. And that's amazing. I wasn't aware that you were doing that. And I just commend you because that is really big work. Women's health care in particular, in any regard, especially around menopause and cycles, has been so understudied, misconstrued, manipulated, shamed, like so many things. So it does take a bold woman. It takes the witchy woman. It takes the priestess, I feel like, to really educate people properly. And like, I know you and I both have the similar background of being in like JFL and the practitioner program and stuff like that. And we had like that kind of initiation. You embody, to me at least, I perceive you as embodying just like full authentic somatics and a cyclical lifestyle when I witness you. So I can't think of a better person to be bringing this education to your community. That's amazing. Good job. You're welcome. That's really, really, really cool. I wanted to bring you on the podcast because in part of that as well, in my perception, so like everybody who's listening, Meaghan and I have not actually met in person yet. I'm sure in the future we will connect in person, but we've been on communal calls with other women that are magical, and I've always felt a connection to you, so I was really excited to get you on the podcast. But one of the reasons that I did want to bring you on here is because there was a topic that I wanted to introduce to this episode, which is bold action and stepping into authenticity boldly and life's purpose and life path. And I wanted to pick your brain about what that looks like for you, like how you be and act in the world in regards to bold authenticity and showing up fully.
Yeah. Ooh. Yes. And it is, of course, the perfect time for me to be talking about this right now, because I am literally going through my own initiation, a new layer, a deeper layer of really walking my talk and really embodying who I truly am, not watering myself down, not trying to be approved of or get people to take me seriously. And as I'm working on this menopause project, because like I said, I'm working with clinical doctors and politicians and lobbyists and lawyers and women in the corporate world. And these are the type of women that I once feared would judge and reject me if I were to embody my true, most authentic self, which is super and super wild and super embodied, super in my body and sensual and outspoken. So I've been initiated, these past couple of months as I've been working on this project, doing a lot of shadow work. That is, if you want to take bold action in your life and be a bold and courageous leader, or just like boldly have a challenging conversation, or boldly post an Instagram video, whatever it looks like for you, you better be fucking familiar with shadow work. Like you got to do the work. You can't just, because if you think you're embodying your truest, most authentic self while simultaneously suppressing all of those fears that have popped up, all of those voices that tell you people think you're ridiculous, you look stupid, what are people gonna think, blah, 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 blah. And you're just putting on a show, you're performing. Mm-hmm. That's not bold action. That's not authentic embodiment.
It's inauthenticity in action would be my argument in that sentiment. And I think you and I resonate because I consider myself to be a shadow alchemist. It's something that I talk with my clients about a lot, is that real authenticity lies in the shadow. It's why my business name is Reveal and Heal. Like what part of the onion can you unlayer to like get to the real juicy center of that little inner demon, inner shadow that is just been lurking there for your whole life. Because when you can learn to love that portion of yourself, exactly as you're saying, that's when you can absolutely step into that bold space and show up fully. So,
Yeah.
yes.
You really got to get to know that part of you, that inner critic, that
Mhm.
the part of you that has a deep witch wound, that
Mhm.
feminine wound, the inner child wounds. You really got to get to know that part of you that is terrified of being who you truly are and expressing who you truly are. You can't just tell that part of you to be quiet, put it in a little box, close the door, and ignore it. You have to give it space, give her space, give them space, give them a voice. You need to get into your body about it. Let those parts of you express themselves. So that way, when you are coming to do an Instagram reel or speak in front of people or lead a sisterhood circle or share your new program or tell your family that you're not coming to holidays anymore or whatever the fuck it is you need to do, you can do it from a place of grounded, authentic embodiment, from a place of true unconditional love, because you've learned to love the same voices, the same parts of you that they are all going to be seeing you with, that they are all going to be perceiving you with. And
Mhm.
be in front of those people, in front of Instagram, people, in front of your family, in front of your community members, and feel their judgment, feel their rejection, feel their misunderstanding, their doubt, their distrust, and still be who you truly are without being rattled, because you've
Yeah.
already done it for yourself. You've already met all of their voices within yourself.
Yeah. 1000%. I also think people forget I can't remember who told me this, but somebody was like, humans are a lot like wild animals, like predators, right? Walking around. A lot of that defensiveness or like stocky behavior from like animals, humans, and nature, it's because we all have that inner critic, that inner voice that is so loud. It's like we're almost walking around more afraid of each other than we are of anything else, which causes us to have that really serious internal dialogue of like, how do I look right now? Do they like or dislike me? Is this good or bad? Did I say the wrong thing or the right thing? It's like that root of anxiety and ego is so loud. It's systemically conditioned to be that way. And it is a safety mechanism, but it also keeps you small, and it suppresses your dreams, and it keeps you in those relationships that you shouldn't be in. And it exactly like it prevents you from being able to say no. Yeah, I really, really fully agree. Something you said about while describing different types of shadows, you mentioned the spectrum from like showing up in an Instagram reel. I mean, even taking the big leap, taking the job offer, whatever it may be, but you also mentioned just like something as simple as like saying no to going to a Thanksgiving dinner or something. Um, I don't know if this resonates with you or not, if you've heard of that whole a trauma is a trauma is a trauma kind of thing. I feel like a shadow is a shadow. It's a shadow. It doesn't matter if it's like your biggest, deepest, darkest secret that you suppressed and will never tell anyone ever, or if it's just that like inner voice that when you put on, I don't know, you wear a color that you don't normally wear, and your voice is like, this is a stupid color, you look dumb, like it all of them need love. All of them need attention. It's bigger than just yourself. It's like all of your ether needs to be witnessed.
Yes, yes, yes. That you literally just defined, whole being healing, which
Mhm.
it's what I do. I know it's what you do. It's what we do. It's what priestesses do. We don't just uh we support the entire universe that you are. We honor and witness and and hold space for the entire universe that you are. And whole being healing is mind, body, heart, soul, ego, shadow. It is all of you. And that is when you really, you know, step into the full universe that you are, that is when taking bold action and you know, just being yourself. I know that being yourself is a bold thing to do in this world, but once you really start to embrace all of you, your wholeness, being yourself doesn't feel bold anymore. It just is.
Yeah.
Just is. And then you really start to have like compassion for the people in your life that you can tell are only aware of a tiny, tiny little portion of the universe that they are, and only safe to express one dimension within their universe. And not only do you feel compassionate for them and you know, sorry for them, but you also get really curious. Like that's it. Like when you become whole, it opens this curiosity towards all of life, towards all the people in your life. Like, who are you really? You know, like I want to know. You're only giving me a tiny little sliver. Grateful for that, but I want the whole fucking pie, man. Like, you know, and yeah.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. I 100% agree. And it makes space for you to show up as the whole pie. It's like once you become whole, you no longer, there's no room for watering yourself down, you know? And it doesn't mean that you have to just like willy-nilly 100% trust every stranger that you meet on the street, right? Like you're still allowed to have discernment and choose who you go super deep with. But what it means is that like in being visually and externally, I guess, a little bit of like just your normal self, you know, it's I feel like I'm butchering this. How am I wanting to say this? It's like being like the witch moon, for example. Like I used to dumb down my wearing of crystals, or wearing like I have the same serpent earrings, you know, or like showing up really feminine or bohemian, or all my tattoos that I plan on getting like even more, you know, like I want like a throat tattoo, and everyone's like, no, don't do it. And I'm like, but why? Like I love it. Yeah, thank you. You know, it's like that need to tame one's authentic expression becomes less pertinent, because you realize that like in this wild ether that we call life and universe and society, that people will have thoughts, feelings, opinions of their perception of you regardless. So you might as well love all of you, show up as the whole pie, do the damn thing, then not. Like why, you know, then just like show up watered down, because there's still people will still find reason, and
Yeah.
you will, you know, it's just your choice how you want to show up.
Yeah. 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 And I really
I
you mentioned discernment, which is like, and this is another really important and beneficial part of shadow work, that allows you to boldly be yourself and boldly set boundaries and boldly tell people to fuck off, is like, you know, when you are doing your shadow work and you start to recognize the parts of you that are just mean and bullshit and judgmental as hell and just haters, you know, the inner haters, you then can start to discern in the people around you who are unconsciously, meaning they're not aware of it, who are unconsciously letting their inner haters run the show. And you can start to tell which people are doing their own shadow work, which people are doing the work to meet their inner haters and say, I hear ya, you're way off fucking base, man. Like you need to take a break, go down, right, go take a nap, or just go on permanent vacation, retire, you know.
sure.
Like, you're not welcome here anymore, because there are parts of you that you need to set boundaries with. There is this whole like and this is bold, you know, like really recognizing this whole new age spirituality, love, 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 you gotta love everything, love. No, And sometimes the most loving thing you can do, the most boldly loving thing you can do, is to tell parts of yourself, you're no longer welcome here. You're no longer running the show.
Mm-hmm.
You're done. I've given you enough voice. I've given you enough space. You're cut from the team, you know?
Right.
And then when you do that for yourself, you can do that for the people around you, and you can calmly, confidently, and compassionately say no
Mm-hmm.
to those people. And most of the time, these people who are unconsciously being directed by their inner haters, you don't even need to have a conversation with these people, because they're not going to hear you. All they're going to think is that you're a bitch, you're rude, you're wrong, you're crazy, whatever, you know, their inner hater wants to say. So you just cut them, you just ghost them. Like, ghosting is okay sometimes.
It 100% is. 100% is. I truthfully, like, nobody really owes you anything, and you don't necessarily owe anyone anything either. That's like the highest form of detachment. Like, it's not personal to them, it's personal to you. That's all. I wanted to interject, but continue, because you're speaking truth.
Yeah, well, that's it, you know, and like that is, it's just kind of coming back to that theme of like how important shadow work is to being bold and taking bold action in your life to, you know, embody your truest, most authentic self.
100%. I'm curious to know your definition, because I know my own, but I'm curious to know your definition, and for like the audience, how do you distinguish between your ego and your shadow?
Mm.
So if audience wanted, like, let's say like there's somebody listening who's like, I'm curious about this, I want to start shadow work, but they can't distinguish those two voices or bodies that live within them. How would you distinguish those?
Mm. Well, the thing is, I've never been asked this question, and the first thing that's coming up right now is like, our ego, for 99% of us, is the part of us that is front and center all the time. I'm not gonna say 99% of us, but like a lot of us,
Large majority. Yeah.
a large majority, including myself. Like, it doesn't matter how much healing you've done, it doesn't matter how authentically expressed you are, how authentically embodied you are, how spiritual you are. You have an ego. You're a human being. You have an ego. And our ego is our personality. It is how we present to the world. It is our likes, our dislikes, our opinions, our political stance, our everything that this world has created us to be is our ego. People can see it. People can see our ego. People can often hear our ego. People can, you know, if, for example, when I answer the very first question, introduce yourself. Who are you? All of those labels, those identities are egoic.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Labels. Those are just identities that I, as a human being, have made me. You know, it's my I. It's my small I. You know, it's the part of me that makes me separate from everybody else.
Yeah, your accomplishments. It's like your stance on your pedestal.
Yes.
Like your little label that you've been adopted or given.
Exactly. And so we are very conscious of our ego. We're very conscious of our egoic identity. Our shadow, however, are the parts of us, the identities, the expressions, the ways of being, the ways of thinking, the beliefs that are not conscious. They are hidden in the shadows. We have suppressed them so much so that we don't even know they're there anymore. And just because, and this is the thing about shadow work and why it's so important, just because we've pushed them down into the darkness and we're not consciously aware that they exist, does
Mm-hmm.
not mean that they aren't running the show. Because they are. They are.
Yes.
Our shadow, all of those shadow parts are running the show. They make all of your decisions.
Yes.
It's so it looks like this, like your shadow's back here behind your ego. And then, you know, your higher self is all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. The full embodiment. It's like the ether around you.
Exactly. And so your higher self's just like bouncing around being like, hey, everybody, I love you all. You're all great. You're all doing a good job. You're all doing exactly what you're supposed to do in order to help this person evolve. Nice job. You know, like, and our ego's here, our shadow's here, and our shadow is whispering into our ego's ear all of the time. Don't say yes to that. Don't say yes to that opportunity because if you say yes to that and you fail, oh my God, we'll be so embarrassed. You know, tell that person's mean, that person hates you, that person really dislikes you, that person's terrible. So you should start thinking negatively about them too. And Republicans and Trumpers, they're terrible people, you know, like it's all, it's, you know, and it's
Yeah.
all of the parts of us who have been sexually abused. Don't trust men again. You can't ever trust men. Don't ever put your guard down around men. You got to be a bit, you know, like, and
Pleasure is bad, you know, like being sensual means that you're a slut. Like, don't trust women. The witch moon means that you're a freak and a weirdo, and that like people are gonna hate you, and that like you're gonna go to hell. Like, it's all those like weird like societal conditioning and subconscious core beliefs that are created when you're literally between the age of infant and like 7.
Yeah.
So I like the shadow. Oh, that's such a good analogy. And if you're listening, if anybody's listening to the podcast and didn't see what Meaghan just did with her hands, she just had one hand out, like imagine it on the steering wheel. It's driving the car, right? And the car is like the body. And then the ego is like the little kid in the very far back seat that is like pissed off at everything and wants crackers and wants attention and is like, when are we going to get there? And this is stupid. And did you see that sign? And that is dumb. And like that, oh my gosh, look at that dog over there, like running everything from the back seat. And then you could argue, I guess, that like the body itself then is that ether, it's the vehicle around it, the higher self, it's the whole package, controlling everything. It's subconscious. Shadow to me just means subconscious core wounding and beliefs that were created initially because the ego, same with like anxiety and these other things and fear, like these negative quote unquote connotations, they were originally developed and created to keep you safe. There was like something that formulated in your reality where you learned that the best way to stay safe was to have this either negative self-talk or mistrust in something outside of yourself. And so it has grown into like its own being and entity that is then, yes, like completely controlling the show from behind the steering wheel.
Yeah.
So if somebody wanted to push the ego out of the way to look at their shadow directly in the eyes, what are some thoughts and opinions around that, or ways that you first started dealing with your own shadow to bring it to the light and love her fully?
Yeah, make a motherfucking list. I'm serious. Take out a piece of paper and pen and write down all of the things you're resentful at, all of the people you're resentful at, all of your fears. Make another list, of fear inventory, all of the things you're afraid of. Make a list of all of the things you believe are right and all of the things you believe are wrong. Make a list of all of your judgments. Who do you judge and why? What do you judge and why? Put it on paper. Put that shit on. That is your shadow. Like all of those, all of the resentment list. And like we're talking about going all the way back. And this first list is not my idea. This comes from my own journey in a 12-step program. So I'm almost 9 years sober from drugs and alcohol.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, it is. It's a huge accomplishment. And one of the ways that I stayed sober in the beginning was through a 12-step program. And one of the steps is shadow work. It's step 4, you know, it's shadow work. It is what shadow work is. And the first part of that step is to make a list of all of your resentments, everything you're resentful at from the earliest memory that you have. And you will start to see, you will really start to see how all of these dark parts of you have created the reality you live in, have created your thoughts, have created your feelings, have created your relationships, have attracted to you the types of partners and friends and jobs and employers. And it'll show you what has unconsciously from behind the scenes been creating your entire reality. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I'm extremely familiar with the 12-step program. And it's really beautiful. And I think that there should be one just for life. I feel like everybody could use a 12-step program for life.
Right up and down. Like,
yeah.
Seriously.
100%. And taking inventory is a huge one. And what's really interesting about shadow work in particular, starting with resentment and fear, I think are two really great ones to get a really broad sense of the shadow. And then if you have, like, let's say you have like something in your life that is perpetual, that is like something that I'm going through personally right now. I have always experienced money blocks, or like a boom bust cycle where I will have large amounts of money and then no money, or I'll have safe, consistent money and then all of a sudden my bank account is negative. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, why? Like, why? You know, why? Like, I like money. I want money. I need money to survive, right? And then doing the shadow work is like breaking down, well, how were you receiving that money? Like, how did you experience that money when it came in? What did it feel like in your nervous system to hold that amount of money? What did you spend that money on? Did you let it sit in your bank account for a little bit, or did you just immediately spend it? Like, does energetically money feel safe when it's with you? Do you feel safe to have money? Like that kind of thing. That's the shadow list around finances, right? Or like, can you name all of your bills, all your subscriptions? Are you aware of where your money's going? Because finances in particular, or shadow work around that, it wants to be seen and it wants to be reflected and loved and appreciated and allocated and all of that good whatnot. But you could do the same thing with like relationships, like make a list of your past lovers and be like, where were they similar? Where were they different? Why? Like, what's the common theme of how they came into my life? Like, again, I'll get really personal. Like, a common theme in all of my long-term relationships are that I pursued them, right? And fundamentally, women, in my opinion, female, the divine feminine, wants to be nurtured, wants to be reciprocated and received and witnessed and pursued. And so if I am the one constantly pursuing my man, it doesn't make space for that to happen, because there has to be balance and duality in everything. And so, like in this season of my life, creating that inventory list around my ex-lovers and partners and boyfriends and being like, okay, well, I was the one that asked them on the first date, every single one of them. I was the one that like pursued them. So like maybe in this season of life, I'll allow someone into my life who is going to see and witness me fully and like wants to pursue me, and I won't have to push them away or keep that wall up, because I know that they're here for the right reason, because they pursued me. So I just wanted to share that with anybody who's listening. You can create an inventory list over any topic at all, and for every topic there, I guarantee there's a shadow attached to it. And like life is 100% about duality and that homecoming togetherness.
Yeah, and I love the you touched on this throughout that entire transmission, just about how all of these themes in your life, money, relationships, how they feel to you, like how does it feel to receive money? How does it feel to be the one who's pursuing your man? And you'll find that too, as you do this shadow work, as you take these the initial step of shadow work is like taking the inventory and finding your patterns. You're going to notice that the same feeling is prevalent in across the board, across the way you receive money and spend money, across the way you receive your partner and give to your partner, across the board. It will be similar feelings, and they will most likely be shame. You know, shame is the big shadow feeling, guilt, jealousy, you know, comparison, you know. So just really look at, and fear will be one of those big.
Worthiness is a big one for a lot of people, and like enoughness.
Yes.
Feeling enough.
Yep. Yeah. And that's where like you get to start to move into the next part of shadow work, which is the somatics, you know, the embodiment of it. And, you know, what does it feel like in your body when you think about your past relationships, when you think about your relationship with money, when you think about all of the times that your authentic expression has been repressed or denied or rejected, and you feel it. You really allow yourself to actually feel all of that. Feel the pain, feel the shame, feel the embarrassment, feel the rejection, feel the regret. Locate it in your body. Like literally, where is it? It's in my fucking belly, you know, and put your hands on it and massage it and give it sound. And then you're going to start to realize eventually, the deeper you go, that the only thing you ever fear, the only thing that you really actually truly fear in this life is feeling. It's not actually afraid of somebody to your face telling you you're ridiculous for being a witch. You're not actually afraid of, you know, you're a man breaking up with you. You're not actually afraid of the money running out. You're afraid of feeling what it feels like when those things happen.
Yes.
And once you do it on your own, you do that work on your own, you're literally sitting in your little temple space on your fucking meditation pillow. Even better yet, do it in a sisterhood with women, and you allow yourself to feel those things without the actual actions taking place. Then you start to become fearless. You don't care. Like, oh yeah, go ahead, break up with me. You know, oh sure, I'm gonna run out of money. Oh yeah, my boss is gonna fire me. I don't care, because I know what it's gonna feel like, and I'm not afraid of that feeling anymore. I know that feeling's not gonna kill me. Yeah.
It's not permanent. It doesn't mean anything. Ugh, people are such meaning-making machines. Your brain, your ego, and your shadow make everything mean anything.
Yes.
I'll say it again. They make everything, every little tiny detail in life mean something 9 times out of 10 other and bigger and more than what it actually means. And what feelings do, what expression of feelings do, is it brings you back to the X. It brings you back to the what happened. Like, what was it actually? How did I actually feel? And then the second that you give yourself permission to have that bold expression, whether it be fear, anger, sadness, rage, playfulness, wildness, sexuality, sensuality, like pleasure, like whatever, ecstatic joy, ecstatic bliss, you know, like anything on the giant spectrum of emotion, when you allow it out of your nervous system, out of your physical, you're left with the X, literal, like the thing. And it's not big anymore. Like the rhetoric and the voices and the thoughts and the patterns just kind of like fall away. And that's my favorite part. So the best part about shadow work, and you know this as well too, I'm so sure, is that once you get there, possibilities are endless. You want to start making things mean something. You want to start being more creative. You want to start doing whatever. Get to the point where there's a nothingness, like in the most beautiful sense, right? And then from there, you can literally create whatever you want. You can reprogram your entire way of being.
Yes. Yes. You're talking about spaciousness, the void, the empty space of nothing, right? The womb of nothing. Once you wade through all of the muck and the gunk and the mud and the bullshit in your womb, you know, and then you get to that X. I love that. Like, it's, you know, X marks the spot. I love that. And then it's just wide open space, and you're like, oh, okay, now, you know, now what am I going to fill this with? And this is alchemy. This is alchemy.
Yeah.
Well, this is like how you turn pain into power, pain into purpose, pain into pleasure, pain into prosperity, pain into peace. And yeah, it's, you know, and also like another thing with like shadow work is as you're especially with the somatic part to it, once you get to that part and you really start to like feel the way you feel about certain circumstances in your life, about certain experiences, then you start to, and you actually you start to feel safe. Your nervous system starts to accept pain, starts to accept discomfort. And then you start to get to a place where you can be like, how do I want to feel about this experience that I had? How do I want to feel about it? And then you practice embodiment, embodying the feeling of empowerment, pride. And I've done this with my alcoholism and addiction and all of the sexual abuse and assaults that I have experienced. I literally go back into it, feel all of the shame, all of the fear, all of the pain, all of the powerlessness. Feel it, come to the X, as you said, and then start to rewrite the story basically, and you know, choose how I actually want to feel in those circumstances. And it's oftentimes a lot of compassion. You know, I feel I embody this goddess of compassion and love for the part of me that felt like I needed to escape this world through drugs and alcohol. Like, of course she did. Of course that part of me needed to escape this world. I'm a highly sensitive, psychic, intuitive, living in a fucked up, insane world. Like, duh. No wonder I drank and drugged the way I did. Like, of course, you know. And then like with the sexual assault and abuse and stuff, you know, I learned to embody this sense of like pride that I survived, and I don't hate men anymore, you know, and like, and I turn the story around, and yeah.
That is so powerful and so beautiful. And thank you for being vulnerable and open and sincere with like your share, because it's really powerful, really, really powerful. And even in kind of like this container, you know, like I just want to invite people to, because these are heavy topics, right? And shadows can be heavy and it's big. It's expansive. I just would invite you to get into like sisterhood or communal spaces, or if whatever whoever you are in whatever form, right? Get with people and get brave and bold about being witnessed. There's so much healing that happens in witnesses. And that's why like me and you exist. That's what the Shadow Alchemist is there to do for you, is to be your witness in a unconditionally loving container where there is no judgment, where it's like my humanness sees your humanness and my soul sees your soul. And we can learn and navigate and mirror for one another. And I just think it's really, really beautiful. Really, really beautiful. And you also mentioned choosing. You get to choose. I think the most powerful thing you can do as a human being is claim your choice. Like everything in life is a choice. And even when you experience big things, right? Like I've experienced sexual assault as well. And you have a choice, you know, in your healing process to accept what society or your abuser or whatever has made that mean about you. And then you do get to do this work and choose that inner voice, choose to love men again, choose to love your body again, choose to like all these things. And but your choice is sacred. Like your choice is sacred. And it's just as sacred for something as consent and like saying yes or no to something as it is to literally deciding what your favorite ice cream flavor is. Like,
Mm.
you don't have to explain your choice. Like, I like chocolate, that's my choice. And you could be like, why? And be like, because I chose it. Because I chose that is what I like. So like it is. And that's like your whole sentence. Oh, yeah, just that all so many really great things. And thank you for being bold and authentic and vulnerable and expansive. So good. Extraordinary.
Yeah.
Extraordinary. Someone told me once, and I want to tell you this, I think you're extraordinary. And extraordinary people are in two things, high demand and expansive by nature. So that capacity to hold more, do more, the what you're doing with like the bringing menopause awareness and teaching into this community and space, dealing with legislator, dealing with lawyers, all of those kinds of things, you know, like that's extraordinary. And
Mm.
it puts you in high demand and it puts you in that state of choice and expansiveness. And like, oh, it's just so good. So good.
Is yes, I love that. I'm gonna start speaking that into the mirror. I am extraordinary.
Yes. Yes. You
Spit it out.
are.
I am extraordinary.
Yeah. It gets to like, oh, this is one last thing that I want to touch on before we like wrap everything up about shadow work is yes, it's very serious. Yes, it's very like big. Yes, it can be heavy. It also does not have to be that deep if you don't want it to be, because this that like just like what we were talking about, like you have choice, right? So like I find my favorite shadow workers, and this is another reason I love you so much, is there is this deep sense of play and silliness, and one of the best ways to outsmart a bully, let's say like your inner shadow is a bully, is to be like, yep, I am a weirdo. Haha, look at how weird I can get. And then like get like and be like so in play and like eradicate your shadows with play. Like be goofy, make voices, sing songs, dance weird. Like, you know, just be silly.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. I like one of the things I tell myself in the mirror when I'm doing mirror work in the mornings and stuff is like, let's go freak out the humans today. Let's go weird out the normies.
Yeah,
Let's
normies.
yeah, let's track mud on the fucking carpet today, Like let's see how many people we get to unfollow us today, Like it's just yeah, you gotta play with it. You gotta play with it. And another thing is like it can also be like really fun and sexy and beautiful. My sister Hunter, she owns a healing center in Flint, Michigan, the first healing center in Flint. Um, she and I have teamed up on creating a dark feminine dance party. We
Ooh.
every month, and so it's just a space for women who have, like all of us, been taught to suppress the dark feminine, taught to suppress our anger, our rage, our sensuality, our sexuality, our witchiness, our boundary setting, our selfishness, all of it. It's a space for us to literally dance with it. And that's like dance is a huge movement. Anything that's somatic with your body is such an important part of shadow work. It's such an important part of learning to be boldly embodied in your authenticity. um,
Mhm.
so get to like 3 minutes a day. If you're listening and this is all totally new to you and you have no idea what's going on or where to start or what to do, set your alarm for 3 minutes every single morning and just sit with your body. Breathe into your body. Notice the spaces of your body where you feel like your inhale is just not welcome. You know, notice why is it uncomfortable for you to breathe into your breasts? Why is it uncomfortable for you to breathe into your shoulders? And why is it uncomfortable for you to breathe into your belly and soften your belly, into your vaginal canal, into your rectum? You know, and start to, as you're breathing, just like bringing some very gentle movement into these spaces, and notice how fucking stiff you are. Notice, and start to get really angry about the fact that this world has caused you to feel like a prisoner in your own body. And then start to break through that shit and start to make big, bold movements and howls and growls. And, you know, and if that is difficult for you to do by yourself in your own space in privacy, that's boop, 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 alarm right there. You need to work with somebody. You need to hire Sam. Like you need to
hire Meaghan.
Or me, yes, or whoever you resonate with, whoever.
Your cup of tea.
It's time to work with somebody, and you know, you don't need to do this work on your own. So a lot of us can't. So
yeah, I fully agree. A really good one too, if you're starting out and you don't know where to start, or if working with somebody is sounding big, I tell all of my clients to start going on scream drives. Stop meditating, especially women. Stop it. Like, yes, it's great. 3 minutes, I think 3 to 10 minutes is a perfect amount when you're just starting out. Go make a playlist that makes you feel some type of way, angry or like a bad bitch or whatever it may be, and go on a drive with no destination and literally scream.
yeah.
Literally scream in your car, scream the songs, just scream, get really primal. I find that in the US in particular, because we are kind of a car culture, that like the car can be a safe place for a lot of people. So if the excuse also is like, oh, well, I have kids or I have a husband or I'm never alone or whatever, great, go in the car and scream it out and just see how the screams will inevitably turn into laughter by the end of your drive, and how you will find that you have like more space in your body when you arrive back home. So that is my one little tidbit of advice. This has been such an amazing call. I love all the things we talked about. Is there any last little nuggets of wisdom or tidbits that you would like to share?
Yeah, I just want to remind anybody who's listening to this that, you know, you're doing enough. The fact that you're listening to this, you know, the fact that you're making some space in your day to expand your mind and learn new skills and hear new perspectives, and that's enough right now. And that is bold. It is bold of you to be listening to new things and opening new doors, and it's a huge step in your journey.
Preach. 100% agree, and couldn't say it better. But okay, well, if people want to work with you, want to connect with you on social media, or come to one of your somatic dances or dark feminine dances, how and where and when and why can they do that?
Yeah, well, I am in Michigan, Lansing, Michigan, particularly mid-Michigan. And so, and a lot of my things are in person. So those of you who are in Michigan, come play. My website is thegoddessgoals.com. Instagram, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. And yeah.
Well, Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. So connect with Meaghan. And if any of that sounds too big and you just want one of us to put you in contact with either of us, comment on this podcast and I will put you in connection with her. And then as always, if anybody wants to connect with me, it is www.revealandhealrah.com. There's all of my everything on there. And you can also find me on Instagram under RAH_Samantha Smith. And yeah, we're both ready to receive you in your boldness and your shadowiness and all good things. Thank you for being on the podcast today.
You're so welcome.
Okay.